morning, everybody. Well, we're back again, and you just heard my recorded introduction there. Jonathan's got me set up with a laptop where I can watch the show for the first time. So I, I almost would rather not watch the show because I'm looking over at me, and it's a little distracting. But anyway, here we are, live and in color, in an industry with a wholesale manufacturer's huge industry, worldwide auto manufacturing, and the retail, which is huge. Even more retailers, I mean, tens of thousands of retailers. And I'm a retailer, in full disclosure, for you new folks who haven't tuned in the show. We have a Toyota dealership in North Palm Beach, Florida, but we're talking to you all over the world. We're talking to you streaming, and you're seeing us. We're on Zoom now, which is really cool. We're still tippy-toeing. We got the bugs out of the Zoom issue thanks to Jonathan and Jenny. Jenny's our unofficial producer and technical advisor. But we're on now where all the glitches are out, and we're trying to do, how do we maximize the fact that we can have a person in the studio, albeit video, as a guest or caller, and it's just going to be exciting. So we're staying up with the times is what we're doing. I mean, Nancy and I had a conference with our doctors the other day on Zoom. I mean, who meets in person anymore? It's really interesting, the pace of technology, and it affects you every day when you buy a car. That's why we're here. We're here to help you buy or lease or maintain a car without being taken advantage of. The purpose of the show is to, through listening to us partially, but mainly listening to the callers to this show, learn ways that you can go about buying that new car of your dreams, or that used car of your dreams, or just fixing the darn thing so it'll get you from point A to point B without being ripped off by a car dealer. Car dealers are just not up to speed the way they should be. They're getting there, and we're seeing some very positive moves in that direction. I have a hand raised from Nancy Stewart, and she always tells me if we have callers, so I bet we have a caller.
We do indeed. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another fantastic show. We are going to go straight to the phones and talk to John. He's a regular caller from Palm City. Good morning, John.
Good morning to everyone. Good morning. I just want to mention specifically about a topic that came up on this show, and it's the warranty for repair, and the $10 million fine was from the Federal Trade Commission given to CarShield. Deceptive advertising, lying about coverage it offered at $80 to $120 a month, and using actors and actresses in their ads.
Yeah.
So be careful. Also, now presently, Endurance is another one that's out there. They're promising you showing a person that 5 claims totaling $3,500, and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
With a famous race car woman driver, I won't mention her name. So you heard about it first on this show. There's a $10 million fine against CarShield from the Federal Trade Commission. Warning to be careful.
Yeah.
You know, John, as far as Endurance is concerned, boy, they have really picked up advertising since, the news hit on CarShield. And we've been talking about that for months. And finally, something happened. And we're happy to save, a lot of consumers out there, from purchasing something that's, useless.
Yeah. It's probably the most commonly asked question, John. Your call is very timely because emails, texts, calls, if there's one question I get more than any other, it's the question about should I buy that extended warranty or not on my used car or my new car. And you answered the question, as I said in my introduction a minute ago. the listeners to this show are learning more from guys like you, John, who call in with these current situations like Car Shield. And as Nancy just said, the amazing thing is here they're fined $10 million and they're still increasing their advertising. It's just amazing how they. The same thing goes with the car dealers. They can be hit with a big fine, but by continuing to do the same thing, they can pay the fine and come out ahead of the game. So my only suggestion to the regulators is increase the amount of the fines. At some point, the pain will stop some of this, and I hope the regulators are listening to the show.
Well, thanks to Earl Stewart on cars, we had a red flag already on this, and he doesn't recommend any of these companies except for the original manufacturer's warranty.
Exactly. Thank you, John.
Thank you for being there.
Thank you, John. Thanks for being part of the show. Okay, want to go
No,
back to what you were saying?
Let me just say this, that that call you had is the lifeblood of the show, the real call, and the number you'll hear us give out over and over again because we'd love to have you call, and that number is 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. And Nancy Stewart, my co-host, co-founder of the show 20 years ago, has got a laptop in front of her, and as soon as the call comes in, Jeremy in the control room shoots the call through to her laptop, and she waves at me or throws a pencil at me and makes me shut up or Rick shut up, and we know that the callers really are the soul of the show. So if you haven't got a question now or a comment, please write the number down if it's safe to do so. 877-960-9960. 877-960-9960. I'm going to turn the mic over to Nancy, and she'll give you some more numbers and ways to contact us on the show and tell you something special about the ladies of the audience, an offer that she makes every week and has been doing for years and years.
Thanks, and welcome everyone. And you are an important part of the show, and that number is 877-960-9960. And we truly mean that. You make the show. So your calls are very important. Any way that you would like to get in touch with us, whether it be Facebook or YouTube or any other means. Also, we have Your Anonymous Feedback, youranonymousfeedback.com. The Zoom number that I give you every week remains the same. It's a meeting ID number, and it is 926-589-0586. That's 926-589-0586. I repeat that number twice because the first two new Zoom callers, you can win yourself $100. $100 this morning. And for the ladies, we continue to build a platform here for you, and by offering you $50 for the first two new female callers. That is our way of thanking you again for helping build this platform. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
Well, we got Rick Kearney sitting in the studio. We weren't sure he'd be sitting in the studio. I love live radio. Rick ran into a traffic jam on Florida's Turnpike and told Jonathan, who was always the first to arrive, that it's going to be a while and I don't know how long. So we were very concerned because Nancy could answer a lot of questions. When Stu's here, he'll be back next Saturday, this coming Saturday. He's coming back a little earlier than expected, which is good. He can answer a lot of questions. I can ask a lot of questions, but when it comes to the nuts and bolts and computers and the electronics and the rest of the high-tech stuff in cars, only Rick can answer. So
yes.
He's here. And Jonathan and I were talking about having you call in Zoom, do a Zoom off the...
Yeah, well, and I'll do it. I've got a mount for my phone. I'll set it up.
So we find the majority of the questions are really questions that Rick needs to address about batteries and about transmissions and about squeaks, rattles, and rolls in the car, and the high-tech complicated machines that we call automobiles. They're computers on wheels now. These are what Rick has been doing for 25 plus years, and you can't think of a question about your vehicle that he can't answer. And if he can't answer it, we'll get the answer for you, but he gets 99% of it. So if you have a question about maintenance, costs, repairs, anything about your car, before you go in and get ripped off by the service department at your car dealership, give Rick a call. You might just have a diagnosis. It'll definitely be free. It might work, and it might get your car back or make you feel better because you realize you don't have to worry about it. Or it might be something serious that you need to take care of right away. So give Rick Kearney a call, 877 960-9860. He's got a whole group of followers on YouTube, so you can go to youtube.com/Earl on Cars, youtube.com/Earl on Cars, and post a question, and Rick will see it directly. So that is, we're relieved that you're here, Rick.
I got a question for you, Earl. Have you driven your Tesla into a graveyard yet? A cemetery?
Is that a trick question?
No, actually, it's a thing I've seen recently on YouTube and several other places. Your Tesla, has your screen that you can have like icons while you're driving that shows you what the cameras are seeing. Mm-hmm. It'll show you the shapes of the cars, tractor trucks, traffic cones, and it'll show pedestrians. Apparently, people that are going to cemeteries and driving through the cemetery, suddenly the Tesla is showing pedestrians walking around when there's no one there. And they're wondering, are Teslas actually picking up ghosts? You're the only person I know of that has a Tesla.
Yeah.
And I just wondered, if you ever get the chance, you should drive through a cemetery. The older one's obviously better, but just to see what you might see, because who knows?
Yeah, Rick, when you
Elon's
get to be my
technology
age,
may have taken a
you
real
try to
step.
stay as far away from cemeteries as you can. So
well,
but I hear what you're saying. Interesting enough, for you folks that haven't heard the show before, Nancy and I have a Tesla Plaid, and we have it fully autonomous, and we drive everywhere now on fully autonomous. We came to a show this morning on fully autonomous, and we named Nancy, named the Tesla Miss Nancy, and there's a place in the software for that. So we kiddingly referred to her as Miss Nancy. When we came to when we got into the studio parking lot, I said Miss Nancy took that turn wrong. She has issues sometimes in private parking areas where there are no, Google Maps and things don't map private parking places. So we joke about that. I will say this, the car with the autonomous software, as advanced as it is absolutely amazing. And you have to have a temperament when you're driving a fully autonomous car that allows you to allow the car to do what it wants to do. So probably it's not something that a lot of you folks are cut out for. I'm a little crazy, so I let Miss Nancy kind of do what she wants up to a point. I mean, I have taken over control. The other day we were going home, and several traffic lights were out in our neighborhood, approaching our neighborhood, and the police were there with their flashing lights, and the stop lights were out. Well, Miss Nancy, I took her off automatic because it's a little advanced for her.
Right.
There'll come a time when she'll be able to handle that. But it is for you folks out there that are thinking about trying autonomous. If you buy a Tesla, the fully autonomous is absolutely mind-bogglingly good. It isn't ready for prime time, and it isn't ready for most people. But wherever we go now, we use that fully autonomous. And Nancy does, I do. Well, I ask her, do you want to be the passenger or the co-pilot? And we call the person sitting behind the wheel the co-pilot, because the autonomous Tesla is the pilot.
That's right. And we treat her like if anyone picked up from the conversation that Earl just had, we treat her like a human.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk to her a lot. We treat her like a human, and we really feel that that is going to help connect the three of us, you know, to drive the Tesla safely. So anyway, so much about the Tesla. We are going to go to the phones where Deck has been holding from Boca. Good morning.
Good morning. Do we still have you on the line?
Welcome.
Hello.
Hello, welcome. What can we do
hi.
for you this morning?
Good morning. Thank you, Nancy. Oh, there's a plane overhead. Thank you, Nancy, with the great voice, and Rick and Earl with the great wisdom. I just want to mention something here.
You're breaking up.
Oh, hold on. Major point, but let's see how that is. That's better.
Yeah, that's a little better.
Yeah, we can hear you a little better now.
I like to walk at night time, and I always like to listen to your podcast. It's a great idea for somebody that likes to walk.
Well, our podcasts are available on earloncars.com. We have all of our shows podcasted, and we also have a lot of other podcasts up that cover interesting topics that we cover, like with the blog and things of this nature. And you go to earloncars.com, and then you can even get some podcasts on our mystery shopping reports that we do at the last half hour of every show.
I saw. I just want to say it's terrific, and everybody else that walks around in the evening, in the morning, or whatever, they can always listen to the radio.
Yeah, I'm having difficulty. Rick, are you able to?
I'm catching only every other word.
Yeah, your connection. Are you on
Deck, could you give us a call back?
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, she's going to call us back.
He's going to call us back. Okay, that number is 877-960-9960. You can go to the Zoom meeting ID number and call us, 926-589-0586. $100 for the first two new Zoom callers, $50 for the first two new female callers. I have a question for the audience. As repair costs rise, so does this popularity in service. They're allowing you to finance, meaning that you can go to 3 different venues. We talked about this last week, and there's just a lot of expensive repairs today. They're rising, and people can't afford to pay for their vehicle when they come through. So they have 3 different options as far as finances are concerned. You know, you can go to your bank, your lender, get yourself 3 bids just to be sure that you know the price is what you should pay, and you can get financed.
Well, my comment would be the dealers are now looking at this as a profit center. Now, it's not a bad thing that they have financing available for you if the repair on your car is legitimately too high for you to afford. But my advice to you is just like when you're buying a car, or you always want to check with your own bank for financing, and your credit union is by far the most preferable way to obtain financing. And of course, the other thing is, before you commit to a repair, you should get an estimate. Almost all states, I know Florida does, and most all states require that if you ask for a written estimate on your car, they must give it to you. Never turn your car over to a service department anywhere, independent repair shop or car dealer, and just say, fix it. I mean, because they will have a blank check. Say you want an estimate on the cost of repairs. The state of Florida requires that they stay within 10% of that written estimate. And that way you know in advance if you're going to have to go to your credit union or the bank. I would be very leery, and I would stay away from dealers offering financing of the repair of your car.
Yeah, it sometimes gives customers a little more flexibility in the service drive, you go through and suddenly, you're hit with this outrageous, cost for fixing something that you didn't expect. So anyway, give us a call toll free. Let us know if you decided on that option. 877-960-9960. And again, we have the yes.
Do you have a call?
Yes, we do. You're a mind reader. We have Bob. Bob's calling us from Lake Park. Good morning, Bob.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. How's everybody doing this morning?
Great.
Early voting starts today.
Say again?
Early voting.
Early voting starts today.
Yes,
Voting.
it definitely is. Early voting.
Yes,
No, I haven't voted today.
It's early voting starts today.
Oh, early voting. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Yeah, very good. Very good.
early voting.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, now, Nancy, do you remember Alfred Hitchcock movie with Jimmy Stewart called Rear Window?
Yes.
Well, if you look at the Star car, it has none.
You're breaking up, Bob. Hello?
If you look at the new Polestar 4, it has none.
No rear window?
Nope.
Wow. Okay.
All right.
And if you remember, in 1963, Chevrolet made a car that's become very famous, worth a lot of money. It was called a split window Corvette.
Yeah. I've seen those. They're beautiful.
Beautiful. You can't see out the back, but it's a beautiful car.
Well,
I hate it when design overcomes practicality, and when these cars get carried away by looking cool, and they hamper your ability to see out of the car or in the car or whatever it is. That's not good. Utility should be number one, design second.
yeah. But 60% of pickup trucks out on the road today have a camper top on the back, that a topper, and you've got no rear view directly out of those. You're using side view mirrors or cameras.
Right. I got a question for Rick.
Okay.
I've been reading on the Toyota forums that people in Supras are having difficulty getting service at the Toyota dealership.
That's because well,
Yeah.
Well, it's so
It's a
few of
Beamer.
them on the road.
I mean, they can be serviced, but Supras generally require for any major work, they require a Toyota trained Supra technician. There's a
Right.
week-long class that you have to go to for Supras to be able to do most of the work on them. Now, basic oil changes and the like, anybody can do an oil change. It's actually a very, very easy car. Of all the Toyotas we have, it's one of the easiest to do an oil change on.
What about parts?
Parts are sometimes a little tricky to get because remember, they only made them for 5 years, and they didn't sell as many as they had hoped.
Far
And
fewer than they thought.
so a lot of dealers don't stock a lot of the parts. They just say if you need it, we'll order it, and when it comes in, you'll get it. But so many of those cars also people didn't really buy them as a daily
That's a good
grocery
observation.
getter.
Well, Bob, basically, it's a very good observation. So Rick hit it on the head. Very few of them on the road, and therefore
Yep.
parts might be a problem. So if you're thinking about buying a Supra, think twice. That's the situation. That's reality. We got 5 callers holding, I believe.
Cool.
4.
Okay, I was just one other thing before I go. This recall on the trucks from Toyota, where you have to replace the entire engine. How long does that take to do?
We don't know yet because we have not. It's still in the planning stages. They haven't even assigned a labor time as to how long they will pay for it. It's once this thing gets going, we'll see how long it's going to take for the techs to do
shoot
it.
out just a wild ass guess.
Wild guess, I'm going to say 2 days of labor from the technician.
So you're talking about 16 hours,
Yeah, and I would
Times,
plan on your truck being at the shop for at least 3 or 4 days
several $1,000s.
for them to order parts and that sort of thing. Yeah,
Several $1,000s.
yeah. It's a massive money job.
And fortunately, it's under warranty, so there you
Yeah.
are.
Right.
So the dealers are looking forward to that. So this is one of the reasons why there's a tension between car dealers and car buyers. When a big recall comes in, we call that a big juicy recall. Now, of course, it hurts the reputation of the vehicle, but it also helps the pocketbooks of the dealers, because we dealers make a ton of money when we have a whole bunch of people waiting for a several $1,000s repair, because Toyota reimburses us under warranty for all the money of the repair, just like if
I
you
get
paid
it.
us.
I get it. But what will you do if you get about a half a dozen of those coming in a short period of time? How are you going to handle that? I mean,
We'll open 24 hours a day if we have to.
Yeah, we handle.
Rick had palpitations when I said that, but no, we just
No.
the hungry, smart dealers will get to it quickly, because they'll find. As a matter of fact, there's competition among the dealers to get the juicy warranty work into their dealership away from the other dealers. So it's good for the consumer. It's bad that you had to have the recall and the engine replaced, but the good news is you'll find a dealer that's very anxious to get that job.
Yeah,
okay,
Bob,
we got 4 callers.
That gives
there, Bob.
that's a real incentive, a real incentive by the dealers just clawing for that business.
Have a wonderful weekend, everyone.
Thank you. You do the same. We're going to go to Dick, who's calling us back from Boca. Welcome back, Dick.
Thank you. Good morning. I get to Rick. I had 2016 Toyota Corolla that I bought new. It's got 72,000.
Okay.
And I noticed lately when I come up to a stop, the RPMs go down from 1 down to 5, and the car almost like stopped. So
Okay.
I took the little assembly off, and I cleaned it with the butterfly, and I also cleaned the map sensor with a different cleaner. It's still happening.
I'd be a little nervous myself about the MAF sensor, that mass airflow sensor. They can be a little delicate. If you took the throttle body off and you cleaned up that butterfly valve and the bore of it really well, and it's still got that situation, you may be looking at needing a new mass airflow sensor, because if it's not reading correctly, the computer doesn't know just how much air is coming in, and once you get bad information to the computer, it's not going to be able to set the car to run properly. You can try replacing it. It's probably about $150 part. Obviously, you've seen this, very easy. It's just 2 screws and quick to replace. But if you wanted to give that a try, one other thing I'd recommend trying: disconnect your battery, the negative terminal. Wait about 10 minutes and reconnect it, and then take the car out just for a nice, easy test drive, like 20 or 30 miles, just to cruise it around a little.
The old reboot trick.
Exactly. You'd be amazed at how many times that can solve a lot of problems.
Well, this applies to everything in the world.
Yes.
When something doesn't work, unplug it, then plug it back in again.
That's all we do.
Many, many, many thanks. I love your show. Listen every week.
Oh,
Thank you
thank you,
very
Dick.
much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for calling in. Okay, we're going to go to Barry. Good morning, Barry. Barry's calling us from Tampa.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
I have a question about. I'm looking right at Chapter 8 of my Toyota Camry owner's manual.
Mm-hmm.
It has a section called Customizable Features, and it shows a series of tables that list settings that are configurable by the owner via the setup screen versus ones that only the dealer can set.
Right.
These are things like door lock behavior, window functions, light timing, stuff like that. So my question: why are some of these settings so restricted, and can they be changed without cost as part of the new car delivery prep? 'Cause I imagine that most dealers would probably charge to change this stuff later on.
I'm not sure why they set it up, the way they did. I guess because some of it can get a little complicated, and they wanted to make sure that customers wouldn't get in and get a little over their head trying to adjust things. However, at least at our dealership, anything that you want adjusted for the customizable features, that is part of the new car deal, and it only takes about 15 minutes really for us to plug a scan tool into it, go in and turn on whichever ones you want on, turn off the ones you don't want, set them the way you'd like it, and bing bang boom, it's done. And we normally, the used car department will pay the service department for the time that we spend doing that. So it's a pretty straightforward thing.
Yeah, well, I found out watching a video by the car care, not a Toyota mechanic, on YouTube, that there's a setting that you can hold down your unlock button for about 2.5 seconds, and it automatically rolls down all your windows, which is great on a hot Florida day before you get in your car.
Yeah.
That feature actually has been available on a lot of models and a lot of other manufacturers for over 10 years now, and yet surprisingly, some cars don't have it.
And not one person in 1,000 knows that.
Yeah, very few people know about that one.
Yeah, I was talking about that last week, and the person I was speaking to was in shock. And just like Rick just said, it's been around for 10 years.
Or more, 10 to 15 years for some of the cars.
And what a special feature that is.
And like you say, on a hot summer day, that makes a huge difference.
And what I was able to do is I could buy a little $20 module that plugs into the OBD port and talks to an app on my phone and set it that way, which probably more than a lot of people would want to do, but it was way cheaper than paying a mechanic to do it.
Sure, yeah.
There you go.
But this whole thing seems like another stepping stone along the path of mothership control. Where a lot of these features now are controlled by subscription and stuff.
Yeah, in my opinion, what's happening is that the designers, engineers are jumping on the technology bandwagon, and every time something new comes up in software development that allows them to do something really cool, they say, hey, look at this, and they put it in the car. What they fail to do is communicate this to the customer. So now the customer gets a miracle car that will do almost anything. It'll brush your hair, it'll scratch your back, it'll do anything, but you don't know it. And what's even sadder is the car dealership that you bought it from, they don't know it either in a lot of cases. So the way this is going to go, I hope, full cycle, is that the manufacturers, the developers, the engineers, the people the think tank that build these cars will say, what we need is a dumb car that automatically does these things and is so user-friendly that you don't have to have a PhD to drive your car. Right now, you need a PhD and you need hours of classes to get the full functionality out of your car. That's crazy.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you, Barry.
You're welcome, Barry. Give us a call again. I'm going to give out that Zoom number for the first two new Zoom callers. You win yourself $100, and that meeting ID number is 926-589-0586. And ladies, $50 for the first two new lady callers. $50. Tell me, ladies, when you went out looking for a vehicle, were you interested in, say, safety features? Were you looking for some special features? And did you find them? Give me a call, 877-960-9960. Now back to the recovering car dealer.
I should have done this earlier, but Jonathan suggested something I think is a great idea, to invite Ashley Moody to nominate someone from her department that will be doing the implementation of the Combat Auto Scams rule that the Federal Trade Commission is working on. Florida is, if you're regular listeners to the show, knows that Ashley Moody, the Attorney General of the state of Florida, has committed to cleaning up Dodge, meaning South Florida. and all of Florida, actually. South Florida is the worst part. Well, on September 1st, and that's almost here, she is committed, and the Florida Automobile Dealers Association is committed to back Ashley Moody. The regulators will be knocking on doors. They'll be closing down dealerships. They'll be fining dealerships. It's going to be a bloodbath in the southern part of Florida. So what is today, August the 11th or the 10th, or what
10th.
is today? 10th. And so that's only 21 days away, 20 days away from that implementation. So Ashley Moody or any of your lieutenants or fans or family or friends, if you're listening to this show, we would love to have someone from your department as a guest on our show. Love to have you. Hey, you can be in person. We'll find a way to get an extra chair in the studio here, but certainly we can have you on Zoom. And the person that would be implementing this, because we have a lot of people, especially in South Florida, that listen to this show, and if we make the people in Miami and Fort Lauderdale and Delray and West Palm Beach and all this strip all the way down to Key West aware that the implementation is going to start September 1st. Virtually every car dealership in South Florida is breaking the law right now. Virtually every car dealership in South Florida are committing crimes under the Unfair and Deceptive Trade Practices Act, and I don't see how they're going to hit the brakes on September 1st. So there will be some enforcement, and we have the word of Ashley Moody on that. So
Yeah.
I don't think Ashley's going to call the show right now, although if you're listening, Ashley, 877-960-9960. That's 877-960-9960. Or maybe you'd prefer our anonymous feedback. And you can tell me, and I won't know it's really you. We have a link that you could go to. This is a web link, and that web link is youranonymousfeedback.com. Youranonymousfeedback.com. And if you would alert us to someone that we could call, we will have them as a guest on the show September 1st or maybe the week before, the week after, or better the week before. Once you start enforcing it, we want to be able to have someone tell the people in South Florida, and the car dealers will hear this, that the implementation is going on. Now, the Combat Auto Retail Scams, and this is for those who may not know, is a Federal Trade Commission set of regulations that basically said this. It's a long document. I'll summarize it for you. When car dealers quote a price, advertise a car, the price that you quote, the price that you advertise must be the price that you can pay the dealership and drive the car home. It makes it illegal to add junk fees, electronic filing fees, dealer prep fees, all that other stuff we put under the general classification of junk fees. It makes it illegal to pop on dealer-installed options like nitrogen in the tires, paint sealant, fabric protectant, mud flaps, and all the other crap that they add to the car and say we can't take it off. It also makes it illegal to modify the advertised price in the fine print. So the price you see is going to be the price you pay, and if you don't do that, the Federal Trade Commission and the Florida Automobile Dealers Association is backing this, and the Attorney General is going to fine you. They have the power, by the way, to take your franchise away, not your franchise, but your license to sell cars away. So it's pretty serious. You can lose your business, and I'm talking to the car dealers right now. If you do not abide by this, you can lose your business. So, Ashley Moody, please consider, we'd love to have you personally as a guest. That's probably not going to happen, but surprise me. We'd love to have you on the show. But one of your lieutenants that can speak directly in your words, not my words, and tell the car dealers of Florida what's happening on September 1st. So the invitation's out there. Anybody that knows Ashley, I got to believe with all the thousands and thousands of people we have that will follow the show, someone must know Ashley Moody. I mean, up in the Tallahassee area, Somebody, do her a favor. Shoot her a text, send her an email, give her a call, say, hey, Earl Stewart would like to talk to you. Earl Stewart on Cars.
Yeah, and what an exciting time. She has really given this some legs, and you know what I mean is a whole lot of attention. And boy, I'll tell you, we've been waiting for this moment. And when this letter went out to all of the dealerships, it really got some attention. So give us a call toll free. Tell us what you think, you know, about September 1st, 877-960-9960. And again, you have the Zoom ID number, which is 926-589-0586. We are going to go back to the phones where Marty has been waiting. Good morning, Marty.
Good morning. How are you?
We're well, thank you.
I have a question for Rick. If I'm in my car, obviously not driving at the time, but over, let's say, in a parking lot or a shopping center, and the radio is on, and I go on my iPhone to Google something, once I hit the Google on my iPhone, the radio goes off. Now, I don't know if it's supposed to, because everything's tied into the radio, and your iPhone is tied into the radio. So what do you think? Is something wrong, or do you think it's supposed to do that?
All right. Well, first question: what's the car?
The Crown.
Okay. And when you're listening to the radio, do you mean as in just like over the air normal AM/FM radio, or are you listening to it through your phone?
No, I'm listening to, say, XM something in the car.
Okay, so it's probably got, with your phone connected, it's probably using a portion of your phone programming to do that. And if your Bluetooth is on, obviously once you go to Google, it's going to automatically mute your radio. Okay. Now, if you close out of Google, does the radio come back on?
Yeah, as soon as I close out, the radio is back.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's a feature that mutes the radio. So because when you go into Google or you're looking at something on there, if there's an audio source for that, you would wind up with two audio sources playing at the same time. So say a video came up and there's somebody talking in the video, you'd have the radio playing and the video trying to talk, and it would just get all scrambled. So what it does is it mutes the one source to prioritize the other one.
You need two phones.
Yeah. So is the best thing to do? I mean, obviously, I don't do it too often, but just shut off the radio, and then the Google will work.
Well, no, because once you switch to Google, the Google should work anyways. It just mutes the radio while you're working with Google, and then once you turn Google off, the radio comes back on.
Okay, so in other words, the Google will work. It's just that the radio is getting shut off.
Exactly. It's kind of like if you're listening to music on your phone, and someone calls you, and you answer the phone, it'll mute the radio on your phone,
right?
Mute the music while you're talking on the phone.
Yeah, I don't want to overthink this, but I was kidding, but I'm really happily serious. If Nancy and I were in the car and this happened to us, and Nancy's Bluetooth was engaged, would I be able to use my Bluetooth on the radio where the radio would be able to give?
No, generally only one phone at a time can connect and control the radio system.
Bad idea.
Yeah.
All right. So it's not a malfunction of the car.
No. It's actually a feature.
Yeah.
It just means you don't have to turn down the radio in order to work something on your phone, because it does it automatically. And then once you're finished with that on your phone, boom, the radio comes right back up.
Yeah. All right. Don't have to bring it in then. Thank you.
Thank you, Marty.
My pleasure.
All right. Have a good weekend, everybody.
Thank you. You too. Glad you're still having a great time with that Crown. We do have our mystery shopping report that'll be coming up just about 9:30. That was our mystery shop is from Greenway Kia in West Palm Beach, and you'll get to see whether or hear whether this particular dealership went on the good dealer or the bad dealer list. And you can go to gooddealerbaddealer.com and check it out. We have all of our mystery shopping reports right there. We're going to go to Joni, and Joni is calling us from Palm Beach Gardens, I believe. Let's see how she's calling us from Boynton, and Joni is a first-time caller. Good morning, Joanne.
Good morning.
Welcome.
Hi, my name is Joanne. I'm calling from Boynton Beach, Florida.
Welcome, Joanne. You just won yourself $50. This is Nancy Stewart. And if you stay on the line and you give Jeremy in our control room your contact information, I'll get that check out to you. What can we do for you this morning?
Well, that's wonderful.
Thank you.
I've got a 2011 Camry, and I just discovered that the side column, I guess they call it curtain, for my airbag, it's coming away from the. It's coming towards me. It's loose.
The plastic trim is loose?
Yeah, no, the plastic column.
Right.
The whole column.
Okay, right up next to the windshield there.
Yes,
Yep.
between the windshield and the window.
Okay. Yeah,
right
there's
over my steering wheel, like.
yeah, there's a couple of plastic clips behind there that when they put those in, sometimes those clips can get old, dry out a little bit, and they'll start to crack and loosen a little bit, and that trim can pull loose. Or if someone has had to go in there and do any sort of wiring work behind it, and they put those clips back in, sometimes the clips get a little scraped up. What you'll need to do is go to a dealership and get new clips for holding that piece of trim in place, and then they can be replaced. Sometimes it's kind of a tricky job, so you may want to have a technician do it.
And be sure to ask for an estimate ahead of time. And if you've got a couple dealers that are in your area, you really ought to get two estimates. What's a guess on what it might cost?
The clips should be maybe $25 total for the parts, and the labor time on it, myself, I'd have it at a half hour. So figure it's probably going to be around $100 labor to take that loose, install the new clips, and get it reinstalled.
What's the total cost?
You're looking probably about $125 to $150.
So this is what you're looking at, Joanne. So get two or three prices. If you ask for estimates, first of all, the dealer that you ask is going to know that means you're shopping. So it'll minimize the first quote you get, and then when you check with another dealer, because you don't even have to go in, you can describe the issue and say, this is what I have to have done. Yeah, you'll save yourself probably 20-30% just by getting a couple more prices.
Do you think I could call to get the prices, or should I go in?
Well, you should go to one dealer for sure, and just be sure that that's the accurate issue. You want to get an estimate, and then once you have that, pay attention. They should put it in writing for you, and you could call the other dealers to describe it. Say, dealer A is going to charge me this. What will you do for? Or better yet, don't even tell them what the charge is. Just say, what's your best price? I've already got another price from another dealer. What will you do it for?
Good. In the meantime, is it okay for me to drive the car?
Yes, as long as it's not completely falling down, it's totally safe to drive, because those clips usually have like a two-stage system where they'll pop a little ways out, and then you have to go in and work with tools behind it to get it to pop the rest of the way loose. By the way, the piece that you're going to be talking about is going to be called the A-pillar trim. Because what they do is they look at the front of the car and they say that first column between the windshield and the front door is the A pillar. The next one by the back of the front door is the B pillar. And the one back by the rear window is called the C pillar. So that lets you know what term you're looking for. So if you tell them that you've got a problem with that A pillar trim, it's going to kind of catch them off guard a little bit, because you're going to sound like you definitely know what you're talking about, and they're going to be less likely to try to take advantage of you.
Wow, thanks to you. I wouldn't know what I was talking about. That's
That's
great.
why we're
So I
here.
don't
We
have
like to help.
It isn't important. It isn't important that you know what you're talking about. It's just that you sound like you know what you're talking about. So they'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's amazing what happens, Joanne, whenever you walk in with that kind of knowledge. You you definitely have the edge.
Yeah. Now, you don't think that the airbag will pop out and hit me while I'm driving?
No,
'Cause
no.
I'm planning a trip, and I don't know if I should
Yeah.
drive the car.
Well, no, yeah,
for
I
now.
understand your concern. If I saw what you saw, I would have probably had to ask Rick the same question, because the first thing when I see an airbag bulging in my face is I better get out of here. So Rick says, and I'm sure he's accurate. He sees a million airbags in his day. That is just a clip that's loose. There's no danger.
Yeah, those clips are made to pop away in a certain manner so that the airbag will actually push that trim kind of over to the side as the airbag comes out, but the airbag will only inflate in a collision. It has to be an impact collision that the car detects with the sensors before it will fire the electric charge to inflate that airbag. And it's bolted into place, and the folds of the bag, it's all folded in kind of accordion style, and it's tied in there with little fabric strips. So they will break away in the event of an accident, but otherwise, no, that bag is going to stay exactly where it belongs.
Yeah, impact is the operative word for sure.
Yeah.
Joanne, I hope that we helped you, and that.
Oh, you guys have.
We'd love to have you call us back and let you know how it went. Maybe next
No, I
week, if you've
will.
had a chance, we'd love to say, as Rick described, what you and I were both afraid of. I mean, not to be afraid of that. I can see a car dealer taking advantage of that and knowing that you're worried that airbag's going to blow up in your face. And so when he tells you he's going to charge you $1,000 to fix it, you say, well, it's probably worth $1,000 so I don't get my head blown off by the airbag. So now that you've been apprised and warned and educated by Rick, we'd love to hear you call back next week and see how it went.
Well, I'm so glad I did. My neighbor Paul listens, and he told me to call you. And I thought, well, I'm going to take a chance and do that.
Oh, great.
Okay, well, thank you, guys. You
Stay on the line.
really
We'll get you
helped.
50
Joanne,
bucks
I'll
to
take
you.
a-
Or 100 bucks, or 50 bucks.
50.
50 bucks.
Joanne, I'm going to take a moment to remind you to stay on the line and give Jeremy your contact information for me. And,
I will.
most of all, I'm not sure whether you realize, you're making, I'm going to use the word again, impact on our female audience, and you're helping and encouraging them to call us and build the platform here at Earl on Cars. So I thank you for that.
Well, you're entirely welcome. I thank you guys.
Thank you. Okay, that number is 877-960-9960. And to all of you out there that are listening, isn't it great that you can call and all these questions that you're asking, Rick can answer. And guess what? This is all free. It's free. So give us a call toll free at 877-960-9960. And you can also give us a call on that Zoom number, which is 926-589-0586. Now back to the phones, and we are going to talk to Paul in Lake Park. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. I'm familiar with the days when the car radio had a needle. Okay, and I'm guessing there was. I'll just say like a rubber band inside that would, when you turn the volume knob, the needle would move one direction or the other.
Yeah.
And eventually that would wear out. It would wear to the point where you would continually try to turn the knob to increase the volume. Eventually it might increase. In fact, sometimes it would even go backwards. Okay? And I have a newer car. It's a 2019. It happens to be a Chevy Sonic with the electronic radio, with the display screen, and it's basically doing the same thing.
So the 2019 Chevy Sonic and your volume control isn't working properly?
Well, yeah. When I go to say turn the volume up or down, it doesn't move per my necessarily. It doesn't the volume doesn't necessarily go up and down, and there's a little a little bar that indicates where the volume is set.
Right.
But sometimes I'll turn it up and it'll actually go backwards, and sometimes I'll try to turn it down and it'll go up.
Yeah, and unfortunately, that's going to be the radio itself, and you'll probably have to get the radio replaced.
Okay.
My recommendation on that, a 2019, we've got the 2025 cars about to come out, so technically your radio is 6 years old. Obviously, Chevy is going to charge you an arm and a leg for a new radio. My recommendation is go to like Best Buy, one of the other chain stores that does automotive stereo systems, and price out an aftermarket unit and look at some of those. You can get an aftermarket radio installed in your car for like $500 or $600 that will have all the new features of 2025 instead of 2019. You'll wind up with all the new Bluetooth, the Apple CarPlay, the Google CarPlay, hands-free. You can have backup cameras hooked into it. You can have various forward cameras hooked in for drive cams and that, car cams for while you're driving down the road. It's amazing how awesome the new technology changes just each year, and especially for stereo units, what you can wind up with getting in a new one will outshine that 2019 radio like nobody's business. But unfortunately, most of them are not repairable anymore, the older radios.
It appears as though my radio is actually integrated into the entire display console.
Okay. I'm not too familiar with how Sonics are set up. Yeah, you may wind up having to go through Chevy on it then.
Okay. But I was just curious because this seems like a 40-year-old problem. Back before the radios were, back when they were all analog and had more.
Yeah, no, what you're talking now is an electronic potentiometer that is going to be way different. Let's see.
I found a 2019 Chevrolet Sonic volume control switch.
Yeah. Does your car have the steering wheel controls?
Yeah, it actually does.
And does it work normally from the steering wheel controls?
No, I have not verified that.
I would check that because if not, Earl just pulled one up on. I'm guessing this would be on like.
I don't think it was Amazon.
No, not Amazon, but he found one on a car site here for like $36, and I don't know how hard it would be to replace it, but you could probably get an aftermarket shop to install that for maybe $100 labor, and for $150 if that is the problem. But I would try using your steering wheel controls and see if that audio control works properly by it.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I will definitely take a look at that.
Cool.
Thanks for the call.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Paul. Give us a call back. Let us know how that went. Our number here is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget your anonymous feedback. We'd love to hear from you. That's youranonymousfeedback.com. We're going to go to Lou Anna, and she's a first-time caller from Fort Lauderdale. Good morning. Good morning,
Hello.
Lou Anna.
Good morning. Good morning,
Welcome.
everyone.
Good.
You just won yourself $50, Luana, and if you stay on the line when we're finished talking, you can give your contact information to Jeremy in the control room, and he'll pass it along to me.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. What can we do for you?
I have a 1998 Chevrolet Suburban C1500, and I was driving home the other day, and I noticed that it was hot. I could smell it. When I came home, I waited till it cooled off. I opened up the radiator. There was nothing in the radiator, so I filled it up with water. I didn't have any antifreeze, and it was fine. I didn't see anything leaking until I turned on the engine, and I started it up, and water started pouring out of the bottom of my car. So, I'm sure it probably has something to do with the water pump. I don't know if it's a hose or not, but I called a mobile mechanic to come out, and I'm wondering how you feel about mobile mechanics.
Well, there's
Those
good ones and there's bad ones.
Yeah, there's good and there's bad, but those guys have got guts, in my opinion. Because anybody that is going to go to your house to work on your car and try to carry enough tools and supplies that they need, the good ones worth their weight in gold. My best recommendation is go on like Angie's List or some of the other recommendation sites for that, and look for places where they recommend, who review them and say, hey, these guys are worthwhile. A coolant leak like that, especially something so large, is going to be pretty easy to diagnose, but the repair can get extremely expensive.
Luana, are you a
might have been
member
as
of the
simple as a
American
hose.
Automobile Association? Are you the member of AAA? You are? Well,
AAA?
if you're a member of AAA,
Yeah.
you should try to find an AAA approved member. And if they will give you the list in your zip code area, call AAA approved. They'll come out to your house, and they have a code of ethics that they have to adhere to, and qualifications they have to adhere to come out. So you put your AAA membership to use and call it AAA approved.
Excellent. That's a good idea. I did Google someone, the very first one that came up, and I called him, and he charged $100 to come out and give me an estimate and tell me what was wrong. And then they put the $100 towards the repair.
Oh, great.
That's a very fair thing to do.
And you could call 2 or 3 more and find the one that you feel more comfortable with, and gives you a fair price.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you think could be the problem?
Depending on where the water came out, it could be as simple as the lower radiator hose split, and of course, hopefully, you didn't have any engine damage occur due to the overheating. Or it could be the radiator burst, or it could be the water pump, or even the block. I mean, there's a lot of things that coolant goes through. So, but of course, the big issue is how long that car was running hot and how hot it actually got, as to whether it had any damage inside.
I only drove it about 2 miles to get it home.
Okay.
Hot.
Hopefully it's okay, but until they can find where that big leak is and get that repaired enough so that they can get fluid in the engine and run it and see what's going on, see if there was anything done, it's a crapshoot at this point. It could go either way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's unfortunately coolant it's a major issue if you lose all your coolant. Same thing with the oil. I mean,
And Luana,
One possibility, if you what make car do you have?
1998.
98
And that's a
Chevrolet
Suburban.
Suburban.
Yeah.
1500.
What's the nearest Chevrolet dealership to you?
Phil Smith.
How far away is that?
Oh, probably 4 or 5 miles.
Yeah, what you might do is, in terms of economy, Phil Smith. I used to know him personally. He passed away, but at that time he ran an honest dealership. I would consider having my car towed, and then you at that point you still want to get an estimate. But if to drive a car that you're not comfortable with having an overheating problem, it might be.
I would never drive it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't drive it anyway. No.
See what the tow charge would be to Phil Smith Chevrolet.
I have AAA, so I have 4 tows.
Oh, okay.
Very good.
That's great. Luana, you sound like as if that you're very knowledgeable. And, it goes without saying that I would say to proceed with caution. The first person that came out to the house that said that they would apply that $100 they charged you towards, the repair, that's a good start, that they would be, reputable. But as I said, proceed with caution. You've had that car a long time. Sounds like a very nice vehicle, the 1998 Suburban.
Yes. My father bought it off the showroom floor, and he gave it to. I inherited it from him.
Wow.
So he took very good care of that car.
Well, that's a sentimental attachment. You want to take good care of that car.
Great memory. Yeah,
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes, definitely.
Okay,
Thank you so
Luana,
much.
give us a call and let us know how that all went for you.
All right, I can do that.
And,
I'd love to.
And leave that contact information. And spread the
okay.
word. Tell the ladies they can give us a
Okay.
call right here.
I do tell them, and I listen to your show every Saturday.
Oh, thank you.
Without fail.
Thank you so much. You
So
have a great weekend.
It's interesting, even though I don't have all those new fancy cars out there. Sounds to me like I like the one I've got.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a very nice and it's a fancy car for sure.
Yes, it was the choo-choo edition.
Yeah, they just don't make them like that anymore.
No, they don't, and I don't want to have to get rid of it because of a block or anything like that.
We understand.
There you go.
We understand.
All right, folks. Thank you so much for your help, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you. Okay, our number here is 877-960-9960, and you can text us at 772-497-6530. Don't forget your anonymous feedback. Back to the recovering car dealer.
Yeah, Luana's call reminded me of a article in the Automotive News this week. There's a high demand, low supply situation going on with 10-year-old plus used cars, and for a lot of reasons. And of course, the primary reason is cost, and people are finding out that the old cars, if they're maintained properly, are really pretty reliable. And it used to be, you'd laugh at somebody that bought a 10-year-old car because that's about all a car would last before it went to the scrap heap. Now, a 10-year-old car, if it's properly maintained, is just getting warmed up. And that's the good news. The bad news is there's not many about there. If you have an older car, remember this. The value today, if you want to get rid of it or you have to get rid of it, today is an optimum time to sell an older car. The dealers, Nancy and I had our management meeting with the dealership on Wednesday, and one of the problems that we have is we can't find older cars. And when we can't find older cars, and we're not trading for them, and we're not able to buy them easily, that means the price goes up. So if you have a 10, 15, even 20-year-old car, and you're not using it, or maybe you got the itch and you want to buy a new car, shop that 10-year plus old car around. You might be surprised how much a car dealer or a Carvana.com or a CarMax is a great place to sell a used car. They're short of the older cars too. So good news for older car. And I'm not talking to you, Luana, because I know that's a special car for you. You don't want to sell it. You want to take care of it. Okay.
Okay, I think it might be a good idea to address some your anonymous feedback, YouTube, Facebook. What do
Then we
have,
will
Rick?
start right off with Anne Marie's text. Good morning. For years I've read that Consumer Reports does not allow any company to use Consumer Reports approval ratings in the company's advertising.
Subaru.
So I guess they aren't supposed to do that, but yet during the Olympic telecasts in the last week, I've seen BMW flash Consumer Reports best brand in their TV ads. They put a disclaimer in very fine print that Consumer Reports does not endorse any products or services. Consumer Reports best brands review Consumer Reports best brands on the BMWUSA.com website. Excuse me. This strikes me as a sneaky way to advertise CR's ratings. In your opinion, has Consumer Reports don't advertise using our name policy changed, or could BMW possibly be creating a loophole? Thank you.
Yeah, Anne Marie, God bless you. I tell you what, for you new listeners, Anne Marie has been calling the show for years and years, texting, I should say, and her questions are just so interesting and intelligent and useful for all concerned. You heard me interrupt Rick there. I said, when we were talking about Consumer Reports rule, I've seen a Subaru ad, and I felt the same way Anne Marie did. I should have probably brought it up on the show, but Anne Marie did bring it up on the show, and now it's BMW. That has been a rule that Consumer Reports will not allow a car dealer or a manufacturer to use their name. Now, it's frustrating to me as a car dealer because we have a Toyota dealership. And if you go to Consumer Reports, you'll find that Toyota is very highly regarded by Consumer Reports for quality, cost of repair, and just about every other way. Not all models, but more models than most car manufacturers have recognized by Consumer Reports. And I actually, years and years ago, I did an advertisement, and I used Consumer Reports in the name not knowing, or maybe I did know, I was evil back in those days, but I did advertise on, say Consumer Reports said this particular Toyota is the best car on the road or something like that. And Consumer Reports wrote me a very scathing letter indicating I would be sued if I didn't stop that ad right away. Ooh. So, Anne Marie, you're right, that was a rule. To my knowledge, Consumer Reports has not changed that rule. I'm hopeful that BMW and Subaru both will be contacted by Consumer Reports. If not, I will contact Consumer Reports and tell them, what's sauce for the goose is sauce for the gander. So if you won't let me advertise Toyotas, then you're not going to let BMW or Subaru advertise their cars either. So actually, now the way I feel personally about that is, and I don't want to give Consumer Reports any advice. They're a lot smarter than I am. But wouldn't it really improve your reach if when you gave the blessing to a great car like Subaru, to allow Subaru to say so? I guess the answer is, you just don't want to take that step because there are other rating companies. J.D. Powers comes to mind. Now, J.D. Powers analyzes cars, and they come out with these reports, and they say this is the car with the fewest defects, and they have lists, and they allow the manufacturers to use these lists in their advertising, and that raises the question, are they pristine, clean, and uninfluenced by manufacturers? So I'm arguing with myself here. I'm wasting everybody's time. But I will look into Consumer Reports. I will report Subaru, and I will report Nancy's a big contributor to Consumer Reports. So I'll let her use her influence because they'll listen to contributors more than they listen to me, and say, you got to do something about these manufacturers' ads on the Olympics, and you got to stop them using that report. It's not fair to the other manufacturers.
Yeah. Okay, T. Cash is asking,
Hey,
So-
Rick, before we get to that, YouTube,
Yep.
we're going to go back to the phones and talk to Tina. And Tina is calling us from Kentucky, and she's a first-time caller. Good morning, Tina.
Hi, how are you?
We're great. Thank you. You've just won yourself $50, Tina.
Well, I'm happy about that. I can always use it.
Oh, good. I'm glad I made you happy. Stay on the line, and you can give Jeremy your contact information. He'll pass it along to me, and I'll get you the $50. What can we do for you this morning?
Okay, I have a 350 ES Lexus. It's an '08, and I had brakes put on it. And now every time I come to, like if I'm on the expressway and I want to, kind of hit the brake kind of fast, well, it's got a wobble. And my son says, that's because it's new brakes.
Nope.
No. And so that's my problem. And so I'm wondering what should I do with it.
Who did the brakes for you?
Well, it's a good, reputable person that did it. It's just that it's far away. And I was told that just leave it, because it's only been maybe 3 weeks or something like that.
Yeah.
That I had it done.
What's your...
But it's not I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I said I'm just not happy with that.
Yeah, no. What you're encountering is the rotors, either they were not resurfaced or they were cut poorly when they resurfaced them. Either that, or
Explain to her what the rotors are.
Well, if they replaced them, then they gave you cheap rotors, and they need to get you new rotors that are better. The brake rotor is actually a big metal disc that the brake pads will squeeze down on to slow the car. You can picture the brake rotor. It actually sits right behind the wheel. And if you have aluminum rims on it, which an ES350, I'm pretty certain you're going to have aluminum rims. If you look in through the opening, you'll see this big silvery disc on the inside there, and that's that brake rotor. What happens is that when you step on the brakes, the caliper will take the brake pads and it will squeeze down on either side of that brake rotor to slow it down. Now, if that brake rotor is not perfectly true and flat and smooth, when you step on the brake like that, it actually starts a shimmy and a shake in the steering wheel, and that's why you feel your wheel, because it's trying to slow those front wheels down, and if they're not perfectly smooth and straight and flat like they should be, it creates a vibration, and it transmits right through to the steering wheel. It actually can get kind of dangerous if it gets severe enough. So what you should definitely do, go back to the shop, tell them you have what's known as a brake pulsation when you're slowing down from highway speeds, and that you just had this work done. If they cut the rotors, ask them to measure those rotors to make sure that they are still thick enough to be safe, and if they're not, then you need to have those rotors replaced. And I would definitely make sure they get a good quality rotor on there. Brakes are not something to take lightly. That's one area, it's a big safety concern, and it's one place that I would rather spend an extra $300 or $400 on having my brakes done properly and correctly to make sure they're safe, especially when myself or my wife or daughter is going to be in that car. Because, I mean, it's nice to have a car with cold AC and a great radio and that runs really well, but if it don't stop, I'm scared. And that's all it is for me.
I guess I'll just have to take it back then. It's just it's so inconvenient, but
Yeah.
it's the only time it happens. So it's when I'm put on the brake, I'm going to maybe say 60, and I have to put on the brake.
Right.
Otherwise, if I'm going around town, I'm okay.
Yeah, because at slower speeds, that vibration has time to just simply dampen down and you don't feel it. But at the higher speeds, that's when it creates that big vibration, and it's not going to get better by itself. It's only going to get worse. So it's definitely something you'll want to get taken care of. And like I say, in some cases that can be extremely dangerous.
Did you have the dealership, or was it an independent mechanic that worked on the car?
No, it was a mechanic.
Mechanic,
It's a well-known person that works on my son's cars. And
Yeah,
our
you
cars.
might call first maybe and talk to him if he's got a heart and he would admit he might not have done something right. He might really surprise you and say, "Let me come pick up the car, take a look at it, and I'll leave you a car to drive." I mean, that's what we would do at our dealership, but most people won't do that. But you can't hurt to ask.
Yeah.
No, I just was told that, give it time and it won't happen. So that's why I haven't taken it back.
Oh, you've given it time and it didn't
Yeah.
happen, so time to call him.
But time to call. Okay. Well, I thank you very much. That's what I'll do then.
Oh, you're so welcome, Tina. Good luck, and give us a call and let us know how that went for you.
Okay. Okay.
Have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Okay.
All righty. Earl, as I was starting there before, T. Cash is asking, is the CARS Act actually law in the United States? He says, last I heard, it was going to be voted on in July. So what's the status on that one right now?
Oh, the CARS, which is the Federal Trade Commission regulation, combat auto retail scams. I like to say that because scam isn't my word. Scam was the word that the Federal Trade Commission used. And it's a really in-your-face indication that the Federal Trade Commission is just fed up to hear with what car dealers are doing. I mean, to call a law, it's not a law, it's a regulation. To call the official name of this regulation is combat auto retail scam. I mean, scam is an in-your-face term. And so that's the Federal Trade Commission say, car dealers, we're fed up. You're scamming your customers, and we're going to stop you. To answer the question, it was supposed to be implemented in July. There was a request of the court in Texas. A lot of interesting things happen in Texas. And so the Texas Circuit Court was petitioned by the National Automobile Dealers Association and also by the Texas Automobile Dealer Association, and they're trying to delay or stop this action that was supposed to have taken place July 31st. The consensus of opinion is it is going to take place. And the indications we're getting from the Florida Attorney General and a lot of other Attorney Generals is it's coming. The CARS, combat auto retail scams, will be implemented. And the bottom line is, if it gets implemented, when a car dealer gives you a price or advertises a price, it will be the out-the-door price that you pay. You're not going to get fooled, tricked, deceived by the dealer-added accessories, by the junk fees, and by the addendum labels and all the other crap that they put in the fine print that you don't know about. Sometimes you never know about it until you sign the paperwork and you drive the car home. So yeah, it's probably going to be implemented. By the way, my dealership and I have filed an amicus with the court at the Texas Circuit Court in support of the Federal Trade Commission, and one other car dealer has done this. So we're the minority. Two car dealers have filed an amicus with the court supporting it. I wish there were some honest car dealers out there listening to this show now that would consider joining this in our petition to the court to support the Federal Trade Commission regulation. By the way, it's going to be in effect in Florida on September 1st because the Florida Automobile Dealers Association is supporting the Florida Attorney General, Ashley Moody, to implement the CARS Act in Florida on September 1st. And we've actually invited Ashley Moody or her lieutenant to come on the show and describe what's going to happen on September the 1st, which will be basically the implementation of the Combat Auto Retail Scam Federal Trade Commission regulation.
And this one is from Donovan. He says, a friend asked me this week, what is the best way to get out of a vehicle that you're upside down in with a large amount of negative equity? He purchased a Kia Telluride a few years ago with a large markup and a $15,000 to $18,000 upside down right now. The only thing that came to my mind, to Donovan, he says, was to find a lease with a large incentive on it. But apparently he's got a several-year-old Telluride, and he's upside down by $15,000 to $18,000.
Yeah, I've got a lot of answers to a lot of problems. I don't have an answer to that. Negative equity, the only thing you could do is just wear out your fingers online going around trying to get the maximum price on a car. You can't do anything about the negative equity. The equity is there. The bank's going to get paid come hell or high water. The only thing you can modify in that equation is the value of the car. You're in the driver's seat today on good cars, and so I let my fingers do the walking, and I'd go to Carvana, WeBuyAnyCar.com, Vroom, CarMax, car dealer lots. I mean, you can go online and shop a used car all day long. You can get hundreds of prices if you want to go crazy. And I would just maximize what I could sell that car for, but the negative equity is going to haunt you, and it's going to be there, and it's going to have to be paid.
Okay.
And that's got us caught up over here.
Okay,
Very good. Okay. We are going to go to our Dog of the Week at Big Dog Ranch. And our little poodle, yes, it's a poodle this week, and she's as cute as can be, and her name is Lychee.
Lychee?
Yeah, her name is Lychee. She's only 2 years old. She's got some medical problems, but with the great medical staff out at Big Dog Ranch, they're handling it, and she's doing much better. She's a very happy dog, and her owners had to give her up and go to Big Dog Ranch Rescue. That's BDRR Rescue. And you can take a look at all of the dogs that are up for adoption.
That's .org, right? O-R-G.
But correct. Okay, Big Dog Ranch .org. So Lychee is up for adoption. She's as sweet as she can be. We have a video that you can take a look at. You want to roll that, Jonathan?
From Big Dog Ranch, and this is Lychee. Lychee is a 3-year-old poodle who is paralyzed. Doesn't stop her though. Once she's in her wheelchair here, she's very mobile, very happy dog.
Look at that.
Loves kids, loves people, loves attention, loves stealing toys and playing with them. She's just looking for somebody to give her love. She's a very loving dog as well. Come see her today.
If you can't see this,
Is she
it's
cute?
heartbreaking. This little poodle is happy as a clam. One of the reasons that I love dogs so much is that they can have a disadvantage like that and still be happy, great companions. The dog's fine. She thinks she's doing fine.
Yeah, she thinks she's normal, and like I said, she's as sweet as she can be, and it's a little 2-year-old poodle. And you know something, this dog is special because we pay the adoption fees. It's expensive, and we do a background check. The fees are paid. It's $200, and you can fill out an application before you go out to Big Dog Ranch, and you can get that all started, so you don't have to spend a lot of time on the paperwork, and you can take advantage of literally walking around and taking a look at these dogs out there. There's so many of them, and I always rave about Puppy Land. It is just an amazing place. And don't forget, Earl has a book. It's Confessions of a Recovering Car Dealer, and you can go to Amazon, purchase the book, and the cost of that book is $19.99. All proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. Yes, all proceeds go to Big Dog Ranch. That's Discovery. I forgot the name of your book.
Confessions of a Recovered Car Dealer. I know that's we emphasize that all proceeds, everything. When a book gets bought, I don't get any money. It all goes to Big Dog Ranch Rescue.
Yeah.
All the money that Amazon pays us for the books that we sell on Amazon goes to Big Dog Ranch Rescue. I repeat this because there's so many advertisements out there that imply that we're making donations to this charity and that charity. Every time you buy a sponge, every time you buy a radio, every time you buy a car, we make a donation. They don't tell you what the donation is. We don't make a nickel off this book. 100% goes to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and I wouldn't do that if it weren't such an amazing organization. And I could do 2 hours on what an amazing organization Big Dog Ranch Rescue is. I urge you, rather than me mouth off about it, go to, and Nancy just gave it to you, I'll give it to you again, BigDogRanchRescue.org. That's BDRR, as in BigDogRanchRescue.org. That's our website. And they have got a great website, and you'll see what I mean. They have locations in Texas, and they have 3 or 4 locations in the United States. They're the largest no-kill shelter. Big Dog Ranch Rescue does not euthanize any dogs. If you're a lucky enough dog to get into Big Dog Ranch Rescue, and we have hundreds and thousands, we have thousands of dogs in all the locations. And once you make it to Big Dog Ranch Rescue, you're home. You're in a vacation area. It's like going to a fancy resort somewhere in the Caribbean. They got everything. And Nancy said, Puppyville. They have maternity wards. They have doctors, and they have exercisers. I mean, the dogs have a ball there.
Yeah. Most of all, they have a great spa.
I can't say too much about them. They're an amazing group of people.
It's like Puptopia.
Puptopia, yeah. I mean, hey, you doggies out there, any dogs listening, if you can somehow break into Big Dog Ranch Rescue, you're probably better off than where you are. I mean, that is a great place to be.
Yeah, and folks, let me remind you that Big Dog Ranch is having some summer specials, adoption specials out there, and needless to say, they're filled to capacity. So take advantage of going to BigDogRanchRescue.org and check that out and take a look at Lychee. Okay, we are going to get ready for our mystery shopping report, and that mystery shopping report is from Greenway Kia, West Palm Beach.
Okay, Greenway Kia. I'm not sure who actually owns that. That might be car dealerships now so often hide their names. I'm not sure. I tried to research it. I didn't get the information. Anyway, they are in West Palm Beach, and that name has been there for.
And folks, you can vote on this mystery shopping report at 772.
497-6530. Text number 772-497-6530, or on youtube.com/Earl on Cars. We get more votes on YouTube than any other place, but a lot of you folks that vote, just use the text line if you don't have YouTube available. 772-497-6530.
Yes, absolutely take advantage. We'd love to know how you feel about the mystery shopping reports. Now back to the.
So if you get a passing vote, they go on the Earl's recommended list. If they don't, they're on the Earl's do not buy a car list. So it's important that you give a fair score. And we do great on the curve because there are very few A's and very few F's. We try to keep it in the middle, so you do have a choice wherever you live to buy a car. Okay, here we go. Mystery shop of Greenway Kia, West Palm Beach. Speaking in the first person as if I were Agent Lightning, our favorite. She's been with us for years now. We've had other mystery shoppers, but none as good as Agent Lightning. I arrived late in the morning to find the location under construction, making it very difficult to find parking and maneuver around. I walked around the lot for about 7 minutes to see if anyone would approach me before heading inside. Once inside the makeshift trailer, I looked around and made contact with a guy sitting in an office. He smiled asked me if I had been helped yet today. I told him that I'd been looking around the lot for a bit, but hadn't spoken to anyone yet. He apologized and mentioned that they were a bit short staffed that morning, but assured me that he would get someone to help me right away. He mentioned for Reggie to come over and assist me. Reggie said that he was waiting for an appointment, but was happy to get me started until his appointment arrived. He gathered my information. I showed him the car I was interested in on my phone, my smartphone, and it was a 2024 Kia Forte LX with an MSRP of $21,615. I always ask this question. Forte, right? It's not the Fort? Forte?
Yeah, Forte.
Forte, okay.
They're
French.
Frenchanized over there.
Yeah. The listing showed a Greenway Kia discount of $500, and that was on the ad on my phone. Kia customer cash in the amount of $1,000, leaving a Greenway price of $20,150. So I went in there because the price advertised was $20,150. Reggie asked me if I'd like to drive today. I said we could take a look, but I'd rather just see the numbers since there was so much going on. If the numbers made sense, I'd go for a test drive with my newly licensed daughter, as this car was going to be for her. He laughed, and he said he completely understood and couldn't wait for the new building to be ready. And that'll tell you a little something about the success of Kia. They're building new dealerships, and there's a lot of car dealers out there that are getting rid of their dealerships, but the Kia is cranking along and been very successful. We found the car, and the window sticker matched the MSRP of the website listing. Now that's a good start so far. Next to the window sticker was their addendum. Okay. You don't find cars in South Florida without addendums, unfortunately. On the addendum was the front and rear mudguards, chrome wheels, chrome wheel locks for total dealer install options of, they got to be kidding, $3,995. I mean, those are some good wheel locks. Or maybe it's the mudguards.
Those wheel locks aren't chrome. They're made of unobtainium.
Platinum, yeah, right. Okay, $39.95 dealer install options. This raised the dealer asking price to $25,610. Reggie asked if I was looking to pay cash, finance, or lease. I said either cash or finance, since I saw they had some specials online. Now, I'll digress just a little bit here. My advice to folks when they're shopping for a car is let them think that you're going to finance the car. And the reason for that is car dealers, unbeknownst to a lot of people, make more money when they finance the car than when they sell the car. Now, this hasn't always been true throughout history, most notably the COVID history where there was a shortage of supply. But now they're getting back to normal. The average car dealer is making more money financing your car than he does in the markup when he finally, if you're buying smart, that he actually gets to the markup of the car. So if you let him think he can knock your head off in financing and make several $1,000s, he's liable to go a little easier on you in the selling of the car and cut the margin and give you a lower price so he can get you into the finance office and really lay you away. So let him know that you're thinking about financing with him. That'll make him be more inclined to give you a discount. Okay, back to the shopping report. He asked if I was trading anything in, to which I replied no. He then excused himself to speak with the sales manager. Again, I don't want to get too granular here, but the less information you give the car salespeople, the better off you are. If he thinks that you have a trade-in, then he has in his mind's eye a possible source of profit. And just as I said in the finance comments, He can make a lot of money financing the car. He can make a lot of money by giving you less for your trade-in than he should. We call that stealing the trade. So in this case here, Agent Lightning has taken away the opportunity of the finance profit, and now she's taking away the advantage of the trade-in profit. So he only has one way where he can make a lot of money, and that's on the car he sells you. So he's going to go for all he can get on that car. So this is psychological things I'm throwing out at you if you decide you want to negotiate, which I highly recommend you don't. But that's what, unfortunately, the way most people buy cars today. When I said I didn't have a trade, and he excused himself to speak with his sales manager. A few minutes later, he returned with a young saleswoman, named Amber, introduced her to me. He laid down a proposal sheet for me to review as well. He thanked me for stopping and said I'd be in good hands with Amber. Amber went over the breakdown with me, and then I asked her about the monthly payments that Reggie had mentioned. Amber excused herself and returned right away with Sam. Boy, there are a lot of people here, aren't there? Got Reggie, Sam, and Amber now. Sam was really nice, introduced himself, and apologized for not bringing the payment information earlier. He handed me a new sheet and went over all the fees with me, explaining that these rates were Tier 1 rates, and that means high credit, means the lowest rate I could get because you have the really good credit, meaning probably over 700 beacon score. Explained that these rates, okay. He also mentioned he was able to find another discount. He found another discount, and which would give me the best price possible. So you see what's happening here. They're finding the discounts and adjusting the price as they move toward the end of this negotiation, this quick negotiation, because you're not going to be buying the car today. He said this will give me the best. This discount he just found will give me the best price possible on this vehicle. The revised pricing sheet gave me a larger discount, I'll say, of $5,495 off the market selling price, lowering the adjusted price to $20,115, which matched the price on their website. Bingo! So, after all that, I think of the trip we just took here, and you see what was happening. I, the shopper, I was being diagnosed, I was being read, I was being analyzed, and the communication was going back and forth with the manager, and so the price was being adjusted to fit my mood and my comments about everything that he was able to elicit from me, and that's what that's what happens. So I hung around long enough to get a much better price than I would have otherwise. There was a little more detail in their fees on the new proposal, so here everything comes out in the wash. So this is what came out in the wash. The fees included, here we go, Ashley Moody, you got one here to go into Greenway Kia in West Palm Beach, because it's almost September 1st, and what would you do to Greenwood Kia on September 1st if you found this? Here's a fee that was undisclosed in the advertised price online and quoted price to me, the buyer, and that was an electronic filing fee of $249.50. That's a junk fee. It's a nonsense fee. It's illegal under the Federal Trade Commission's Combat Auto Retail Scams rule, and it's also illegal under the enforcement of the Attorney General for Florida, Ashley Moody. Whoops, here goes another junk fee. Illegal, Greenway Kia in West Palm Beach, $899.95. Whoops, another illegal tag agency fee of $99.95. Okay, all right, wait a minute, here's a legal one. A tire fee for $5. That's a federal tire fee. That's a taxable fee. That's okay. The little ones are okay. The license fee was slightly lower at $390. That's probably okay. We haven't broken that down, but it probably is. So, the tag and registration, that's a non-taxable fee. But we now had dock stamps. I mean, it's only $81.55, but it adds up, right? Dock stamps are it's not only a junk fee, but it's a lie, because I said, as the shopper, I'm not going to finance the car. So if you don't finance the car, there are no dock stamps. So not only are they giving me a junk fee, but they're lying about what the junk fee is. They could have said anything other than dock fee, and it would only have been half a lie. Right?
And that that delivery fee, it's a double dip because they've got it on the original Monroney as well.
Yeah.
So that's
okay. And I'm going to digress a little bit because I think we got the time. I forgot to mention 2 days ago, Nancy and I were sitting side by side, and my phone rang, and she heard the conversation. It was Christina Rogers from the Wall Street Journal. And she was calling me about an issue she was having with car dealers because they were delivering cars. This will be probably coming up in the Wall Street Journal. It might be in today's journal, but if you're a Wall Street Journal, Christina Rogers is the reporter, and they're delivering the cars that are not prepared for delivery. They're dirty inside and outside, and nothing has been checked or inspected or anything. And she wants to know if the dealers are just doing that because they don't want to spend the money to prepare the cars for delivery. And Rick just made the comment here, that's all part of the pre-delivery process that the manufacturer has already paid you for. And it's on the window sticker of the car. It's built into the cost of the car. And the dealer has been paid to wash your car and check it out, road test it, and Rick, you probably know better than I do all the things. There's a whole checklist of things that car dealers are required by the manufacturer to do before it goes to the customer.
Yep.
So here, the dealers are charging you for that, and double charging you is what they're doing. Okay, the bottom line after all that came to $23,233.11, and this is $1,500 less than the original quote. So that $1,500 less was all breaking the law, and that is why I kept invoking Ashley Moody, Florida's Attorney General's name. Hopefully someone is listening that will contact Ashley Moody and have her or one of her lieutenants be a guest on this show before September 1st. I thank them for the time. Amber wrote her phone number on the sheet for me, and thank them for coming in. And there you have the mystery shopping report of Greenway Kia in West Palm Beach, Florida. And the vote should come in with a curve vote. We talk about, don't even think about an A and don't even think about an F. We have to leave room for somebody to buy a car in South Florida. So if you fail them, they're going to have to find another Kia dealer somewhere that's probably no better than the one we just talked about. So try to keep your grades between F and A.
Well, Jonathan in Palm Coast, right off the bat, says F. Just plain F. Well, might have some reasons there.
If you feel it, you got to say it. So, and maybe it's a good time to say F because September 1st might be the time for Ashley Moody to say you're going to jail. And that's not literally going to happen, of course, but she could say $5,000 fine, or she should say, I'm going to suspend your license to sell cars. So Greenway Kia, I hope you change what you're doing down there on September 1st, because we're throwing your name around a lot, and we're talking about Ashley Moody a lot, and I think somehow that might get back to her. You might be on her checklist on September 1st.
Okay, T Cash says F minus. Now I know why that last poster is $18,000 upside down on the POS Telluride. Almost $800 per wheel lock. Get all four online for $40.
Really?
Yeah. Tom Steckel, C. Ridiculous addendums and fees. Amber waves goodbye as I walk out the door. Less knowledgeable buyers would not get a good deal. Joseph Kelleher, D. High fees and addendum label ruined that car deal. Scott H. Sr. says, D. Too many fees. Tim Gilliland, fees equal D. Cram 1624. Junk. Junk fees, double dipping. Go get 'em, Ashley Moody. F. Go get 'em, Ashley Moody. Brian Sedlatko, D for deceiving. George Petrillo, D. Jeffrey Bandas, C minus. Typical South Florida junk fees. But they actually did wipe out the addendums $39.95. All right, let's see here. We got Bob in Maryland says, it should be an F, but in the land of Oz car dealership world of South Florida, it's a C. And do we have any others right now? Not so far. So for me, I'm going to say a C minus, because they did eventually get down to a reasonable price with all those dealer fees added on it.
Yeah, and it's South Florida.
But yeah, I'm going to say a C minus. If you go in there with your eyes open and you have some knowledge beforehand, you got a chance of getting a reasonable deal.
Yeah.
Maybe not a good one, but a reasonable one.
Yeah, if you have the education to do what Agent Lightning did and push a little bit and walk out without buying, that's what saved her. And anybody that went in there to buy a car today would have been in trouble.
Yep.
Nancy?
Well, you ask yourself why distress it runs so high. You know, it's just it's amazing. The consumer just doesn't trust the dealers, and this is the reason why we need your help. And boy, I'll tell you what, Attorney General Ashley Moody, she is going to help us tremendously. You watch and see. This has been a long journey, but definitely worth it. For Greenway Kia West Palm, I'm going to give them a D minus. We have to put these dealers on notice.
Yeah, I wonder what the grades are going to look like in September. It's going to be interesting. What will be accomplished by this? And by the way, my grade is going to be a C minus. I gave them a higher grade because it was South Florida, and but after September 1st, hopefully this is what's going to happen. The egregious worst dealers will be slammed. I don't know that Kia of West Palm Beach, Greenway Kia, would be in that list. We do know some dealers that we've seen. Napleton comes to mind. We have some dealers out there that are so bad that they've already been fined and they've already been chastised. They've already been to court and they're still doing the same thing. The FADA presentation, the Florida Automobile Dealers Association presentation, Nancy and I saw the other day, compared what's going to happen in enforcement to I-95. That's one of our expressways in Florida, Turnpike superhighway. And on I-95, the highway, the speed limit in some places is 70 miles an hour. So if you're going 80 miles an hour, you're okay. You're speeding by 10 miles an hour. But if you go 85 miles an hour, they'll pull you over. They give you about an 11 miles over the speed limit is the way it works. So the high speeders of South Florida, like Napleton, they're going to go down first, and then the Greenway Kia will probably fall later. But they'll eventually bring it down, hopefully, pretty close to the speed limit. And it's never going to be perfect, folks. Let's face it. As long as you got so many car dealers, but it will get better, I really believe. It's going to be fun watching this in Florida. We're almost there.
Yeah, most definitely. Okay, we have maybe a minute or two. Would you like to mention Stellantis or anything else?
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that too. The car dealerships of the world are in financial disarray. Stellantis, Jeep, for all practical purposes, that's what they are, is Jeep. They're losing money, they're laying off people, and therefore take into consideration when you decide to buy a car the manufacturer. You don't want that manufacturer to be gone when you go back for warranty work. And this applies to, especially to a lot of electric vehicles like what is it? Rivian. Rivian lost $1.46 billion in the last quarter. So do a little financial research on the manufacturer before you buy the car.
Great advice. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you for joining us here at Earl on Cars.